Count Caspar interrupted and said, "How dare you demolish the gate of the Count's palace and use it as a weapon? What a shame, I won't tolerate this ever." All the people also noticed that it was the gate of the Count's palace. Caspar is now trembling in anger, and his subordinate informed him that his knights would rather give up their titles than go to fight, so he suggests changing the mode of completion to cavalry fight. Caspar agreed to it, as this is the only chance they have to win the tournament. Gray is very bored at this time because no one wants to fight with him. Caspar called him and said that he wants to see Gray's skills in cavalry. Gray was puzzled, and Caspar is interrupted by Iron, who points out that according to the tournament's regulations, the winner gets to choose how the following match will be played. Caspar warned her that if she refused to participate in the horse battle, his men would not fight and the competition would continue without them. Iron is now frightened as she couldn't do anything. "Brave knight, are you willing to accept the request for a horse battle?" Caspar asked, and Gray told him that he will accept the horse battle if Caspar will send out all of his knights at once to fight with him. After hearing from Gray, Iron was surprised. Caspar asked if Gray means that all of the rest of his men will fight together, and Gray confirmed it. If these guys stop coming out halfway through the fight, he won't have 50 people defeated. Horace shouted to warn him, but Caspar accepted the deal. At the moment, Horace doesn't trust Gray and wanted to stop the match. Iron called Gray by his name and said, "Are you making such a request with full confidence?" And Gray replied, "Exactly, I will bring your victory." Because of Gray's statement, Iron let him show Gray's bravery and trust him wholeheartedly. Gray jumped from the top of the gate, and Tenitos with the cat on the roof went towards Gray, and he successfully rides to Tenitos. Caspar immediately ordered to get all of his knights on the stage, and his subordinate followed his order and told all the knights to prepare for the battle. Several knights with their horses are coming and getting in their formation in front of Gray. As there is just one opponent on the opposing side, the Count's warriors are certain that they will win the tournament. They started to attack Gray, but Tenitos used his head to stop them. Gray pulled a sword, but the adversary is unaware that he doesn't have the skill to use it, so he attacked Gray with all of his strength, and Gray just parried the blow, which makes the opponent to be annoyed. Gray trusts Tenitos to take care of all these troops with just one hoof. At this moment, the horsemen are now pissed off, and Tenitos asked what they will do. "Since swords don't work, let's use the old method of lick," Gray stated, and use his magic, a colossal magic quadruple. Tenitos feels more strong because of Gray's magic. The troops are rushing towards them while Tenitos is running with unbelievable speed. Count's knight was executed one by one, and no one can stop Gray. They now thought that Gray is very skillful at riding horses, so their plan is to stab Tenitos, but because of magic, the sword can't hit Tenitos. While almost all of the opponents were knocked down, Gray, Tenitos, and the cat were happily fighting against them. The opponent was scared of Gray, and they thought that he was not a human but a monster. Caspar was surprised to see his troops all knocked out, and he even thought that Gray is cheating. Horace was glad to see Gray successfully win the battle, and Iron gives back to Gray his sword. Gray reminded her that he already defeated 50 people in the tournament as promised, so he should be granted the title of knight. "Of course, I will fulfill my promise and grant you the title of a knight with a seal," Iron declared. In the spring of the 10,753 Holy Calendar, in the territory of the Kingdom of Isaac at the southern end of the continent Celts, a great knight was born who is going to change the whole world in the future. Some people left the scene in anger because of this. Some people are cheering for him, and Gray himself has no idea about it but was happy experiencing this kind of fulfillment. The next day, Gray is throwing away gold coins and gems in the castle, and many people give thanks for his kindness. The cat asked what is he doing, and Gray answers, "Distributing the treasure I found to the poor." Last night, Iron bestowed upon Gray the title of the Knight of the Silver Moon. She hopes that Gray will walk alongside her in the future. "I will fight for you to my death," Gray answered. Iron prepared a room for Gray, and the cat now believes that the Lick has actually become a knight. Upon realizing it, Gray was very happy and walked around the room because of his excitement. Afterward, he decided to read the book to learn something about being a knight. The cat was about to sleep, but Gray won't allow him as he still needs advice. Upon reading the book, it says that the knight always gives treasure to the poor, so Gray asked the cat where to find the treasure and who are the poor. The cat answered, "Compared to Count Caspar, everyone in Port Hamlet is poor. For the treasure, this castle is full of it, so feel free to find it yourself." After that, the cat fell asleep. That's why this day, Gray robbed Count Caspar's castle and give it all to the poor. On the other side, in the temporary office of Iron, Abby, Robert, and Horace entered her room to ask if she really going to trust Gray. "You must have witnessed his bravery, and I need his strength," Iron answered. Robert insisted that Gray is not trusted since they did not know his past and didn't even bother to take off his helmet at the pledging ceremony. But still, Iron is very confident about Gray and told Robert to not talk about Gray in the future. In just a minute, one knight came to Iron's room and delivered the news that the Silver Moon Knight, which is Gray, has robbed Count Caspar's treasury and thrown it from the castle tower. After hearing the news, Iron, Horace, and Robert were shocked and disappointed by what Gray did. Iron never considered herself a competent lord. She was trained by her father and was told that if she fall easily, there was no way she can become the next Grand Duke of the Becher family. However, there was one quality that Iron hadn't noticed, and that is she's very good at putting on an act. While Iron is en route to Grey, Caspar was already in the castle tower, standing in front of Grey, reprimanding him for plundering the castle's treasure. Grey told Caspar that he was giving the wealth he found to the poor as every knight does, but Caspar was very mad because it was his own treasure and he called Grey a despicable thief. Since Grey is a naive Lich, he wasn't aware that this treasure belongs to an owner, and he even told Caspar that he doesn't know since there is no written name on it. Iron and his knights heard Caspar scolding Grey, so Robert told her that they better stop Grey before the issue gets too big. In addition to putting on a show, Iron has another trait that is essential to being a lord. That is an incredibly keen insight into an opportune moment. Caspar ordered Grey to call his master, but Iron was already behind him and said, "What a surprise. Uncle Caspar has requested to see me." Iron believes that Caspar is avoiding her because he didn't want to fulfill his vow. Grey immediately greeted his master as well as Iron to him. Iron goes near Caspar and whispers that if he refuses to fulfill his vow, she has the right to deprive him of his title immediately. Caspar feels shocked and thought that Iron is the one who deliberately sent Grey to attack his treasure. But Iron told him that she didn't anything about it but is willing to compensate for the damage that Grey caused. "After all, I am not like a certain person. I am very credible," Iron stated, which caused Caspar to be annoyed and threw the charter before leaving the tower. Grey asked Iron if he did something wrong, and Iron told him that he has done very well. Iron was grateful that Caspar had forgotten that she had no right to deprive him of his title before becoming Grand Duchess, and he was grateful for the pressure Grey put on Caspar at this point. She also educates Grey that robbing other people of their wealth is wrong and that if it ever happens again, his pay will be withheld in retaliation. Since Iron got the charter, they don't need to stay in Port Hamlet, so she told Grey to pack up his things as they need to go to White City by tomorrow. The cat is speechless and thinks that only such an unreliable master accepts a lunatic knight as Grey, but he was happy to see Grey slowly achieve his dream. The following day, as Iron and Grey prepared to depart from Port Hamlet, regular soldiers appeared in front of them. When Grey questioned why there were so many knights present but they did not participate in the tournament, the cat responded that they were just normal soldiers and only knights were permitted to participate in the battle. The cat noticed that there is another group of thousands of people that Caspar got by contact, so he senses that horrible things are about to happen. When night comes, one soldier looks for Grey, and when Grey appears, the soldier informed him that Horace ordered him to visit Lady Iron's tent. Iron ordered Horace with all the troops to use the charter as an opportunity for them to force more lords to join their camp, and he needs Horace to spread the word as he is the only reliable person for Iron. Horace won't accept her order because he's afraid that only Grey is left on her side. "If Grey has second thoughts about me, do you have the power to stop him?" Iron stated, which makes Horace and Robert remain speechless. Grey arrives at Iron's tent, and when he entered, these two men were staring at him, so Grey immediately asked if what's wrong. Horace suddenly held his arm and said, "I'm counting on you for the safety of Lady Grey." After saying that, Horace and Abby Robert left the camp, but Grey doesn't know precisely what heroes mean to say, so he decided to ask Iron, but he doesn't know what to say. Iron feels that Grey is nervous, but Grey told her that he was not nervous, he just doesn't know what to do. "To put it simply, you just have to stand there and knock down anyone who tried to attack me," Iron said, and because of that Grey understand everything. Iron feels odd since Grey refused to take off his helmet and didn't know the knight's oath. She started to think that Grey is not a human. "What are you talking about?" "Of course, I'm a knight born and raised in this country," Grey said while his eyes are flickering drastically. They are both talking in the tent about Grey's identity while the cat is listening to them, and he suddenly noticed someone from above. Iron informed Grey that she was not doubting. "From the moment you pledged your allegiance to me, you have been my knight. I will pay for who you are and make sure you don't get abused for it all," Iron said, causing Grey to shed tears because of happiness, and he promised Iron that he will be loyal no matter what. After that, Iron said to Grey that he should be ready since it was almost time to welcome the guests. Grey was puzzled, and suddenly, someone entered and Tyr Iron's tent. The Ravens are a group of assassins based in the southern part of the Kingdom of Isaac. As long as they're willing to pay, they will execute anyone, right from the royalty down to the old and weak. Among the Ravens, an assassin named Spectre is the most fearsome. Other assassins take money for their work, but Spectre is a monster assassinated for fun. Now, his target is the woman with white hair and blue eyes, which is Iron Berbera. Grey immediately throws the sword at Spectre because he remembered that Iron told him he needs to knock down anyone who tries to attack the young lady. After seeing it, Iron told Grey that swords are not supposed to be thrown. Grey covers Iron, and he believes that Spectre has an assassination intent comparable to the Great Lich. Spectre attacked Grey with fast speed, and he thought that he has been cut Grey into pieces. When he pulled his sword, he then saw that it has been broken. Grey teased him as he thought that Grey will be over. Gray slaps Spectre and throws at the corner. While they are fighting, Iron doesn't know what was going on. What she saw is Spectre was the one who broke his own sword in the first move and proudly swung the broken blade a dozen times, and also thought that Gray didn't notice it. She thinks that both of them have gone crazy. Since she doesn't understand what was going on with both Spectre and Gray, she just ordered Gray to throw Spectre outside the tent. Gray suddenly asked Iron if she already know that this assassin is coming. Iron answered that they usually come to her once every 3 days, and they might come many times now that Horace and others are not with her. Gray then realizes that it's more worse than the times he was being hunted in the underground. While Gray throws the assassin outside the tent, he told Iron that he didn't know the situation of Iron and only knew that Iron can make him a knight. Iron explained everything to Gray. She said it was all about money and power, or simply because many people wanted her to disappear from this world. It all began without any complications. 2 months ago, the Grand Duke of the Becher House passed away unexpectedly. After his death, the Grand Duke, in his will, specified that his only daughter Iron would inherit his title and property. But at that moment, an illegitimate son named Jones suddenly appeared. Although the Grand Duke has an illegitimate son, according to the law, an illegitimate son had no right to inheritance. The problem was that the illegitimate son was brought out by the king. The king had the right to grant the illegitimate son the legal right of succession. And because the illegitimate son was a boy, even with the will of the Grand Duke, he was entitled to the inheritance instead of Iron. This was an obvious conspiracy. The king wanted to take over the Becher family's territory in a bloodless manner. Some of the people feared the king's authority, and therefore did not dare to help even though they knew the truth. Others, seeing the benefits, tried to help the feudal lords to take advantage of the situation. In short, from the day she lost her father, there were many people who wanted the 16-year-old girl to disappear as soon as possible. So, assassination became a common affair for her. The next day, Lady Iron together with Gray returned to the capital of the Duchy of Becher, the White City. Someone ordered the guards to welcome Iron and open the gate. She's Shelley, a young lady with blonde hair and blue eyes, and was happy seeing Iron return safely. Shelley also heard that Iron met a very brave knight during her trip to Port Hamlet. When they entered the town, people gossip after seeing the legendary Silver Moon Knight, which is Gray. The cat asked Gray if he understand what Lady Iron told him, but Gray didn't understand any of it. The only thing he knows is he must defeat the king, or else he will lose the knighthood he earned. When Gray looked around, he was happy after seeing the people cheering for him. He started to like the place because it's very lively and he feels the feeling of being alive. Iron acknowledges what Gray said and agreed that a white city is a lively place, that's why she has to guard this place to keep it alive. Iron offers Gray that she will prepare new armor for Gray and Tanitos, so she asked Gray if he had any specific requirements for it. According to Iron, Gray is now considered an important member of the Becher family, so his attire should be dignified. Since Gray doesn't know much about it, she just told Iron that anything will do. Aside from that, Iron informed Gray of one more thing. Once they settled in, she will invite all the nobles of the city to a ball to let them know that she returned alive with her troops and horses. Therefore, Gray should attend the ball with Iron since Gray is her guardian knight. Iron told him to be prepared and Gray was puzzled because it was his first time. While they are discussing, Gray was not aware that there's someone spotted him from above and knew that he was a Lich. Her name is Catherine, an angel with white hair and blue eyes. In accordance with the Greystone Agreement, they signed with the Liches before it mutilates humans. They should observe the situation and refrain from taking action against it. When the night comes, Gray is observing with his new armor and he was very glad and thankful for Iron for being a superb lord. The cat reminded Gray about the ball, but Gray doesn't know anything about it, so the cat told him that it was a party where everyone got together and danced. And what is dancing? Gray questioned. The cat showed him a sample of dance and Gray followed his steps. He then concludes that it was like some kind of mystical ritual. While they are practicing, someone knocked on the door, so Gray immediately wears his armor and opens the door. The maid introduced herself to Gray and informed him that Lady Iron is waiting for him. The maid guides his way to the lady, and when they arrived, Gray was surprised by Iron's look, but because of the jewels, he imagines himself wearing it since it has a gorgeous fabric. Lady Iron asked Gray if he was ready, and Gray confidently answered yes. Iron extended her hand to Gray and told him they'll go downstairs, but Gray was puzzled and wondered why Iron isn't leaving yet if she said that they need to go downstairs. The cat hit him in the head and informed him that Iron wanted him to help her go. Why do I need to hold her? Has she fractured her ankle? Gray asked the cat, but the cat told him to stop asking and just held Iron's hand. Gray immediately held Iron's hand, and when they both walking, Gray suddenly said, "My lady, your gown looks great today. Can I wear it?" Iron wasn't sure of what she heard, so she told Gray to repeat what he said, but Gray said the same thing. "But you're a man, right?" Iron asked, but Gray wasn't sure what man is. The cat scolded him for being ignorant that might reveal his identity and expose him to the people. After hearing it, Gray took back what he said and told Iron to forget about it. Iron realizes that since Gray doesn't want to take off his helmet, refuses to take off the armor, doesn't want to mention his past life, and likes pretty dresses, she then concludes that this knight in front of him is not Gray but Grace. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Till next time.